they're not going to have a part. But the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all the liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. If we don't get rid of the unclean spirit, the sin that we are born with, for one, the things that we get into, if we do not purge ourselves of these things, we do not get saved, we do not get help, we will surely burn in a lake of fire. Sin is someone in need. That's what it is. People that get involved in witchcraft, like I said, they have that longing for something in their life that they are missing. It's not that they wanted to go practice and they want to cause harm to people. Their life is tore up. It's upside down. They're hurting. And they fall for it. The drunk is hurting. He has a longing in his life for something. That's why he drinks. The potheads, being addicted to prescribed medicine, whatever it is, there's something there that is hurting them, and they're trying to fill that void. We as a church should be, hey, God is the one that can fill the void. We should be that example, but yet we have let witchcraft be whitewashed in churches and our lives that it takes over. When we watch a Disney movie and you see all this stuff and you start thinking after you read, you're like, God, I like these movies. What's so wrong with them? And then you think, well, there's shadows crawling around the floor. They're climbing up the walls. They're picking things up. Would you want to see that in your house? I don't think so. But see, we know that it's wrong. We understand that it's wrong. Now we should tell people it's wrong and help them understand why it's wrong. Will we watch it? Probably. It's a movie. Some people are going to go back and watch it. I'm not saying not watch Disney. I can't say that. Most of us are Disney fans. But it's saying, be careful how we watch it and what we think about it. So we're going to finish up in Acts 16. In 16. We talk about Paul and Silas. Everybody wants to preach on how they went to jail and basically they brought the jailhouse down. But why did they go to jail? What did they do? Well, they was doing what God told them to. They were rebuking. They were standing up. They were going against the world. Now, while Paul waited for them at... Oh, hold on. Am I in the right place? No, never mind. I was in the wrong one, y'all. My bad. And it came to pass as we went to pray, a certain damsel possessed with a spirit of divination met us, which brought her masters much gain by soothsaying. So basically another conjurer, a psychic. This woman has found herself following Paul and Silas. So she's basically following them around. And the same followed Paul and us, and cried, saying, These are the men of the servants of the Most High God, which say unto us the way of salvation. She knew who they were. She was following them. Basically, what she was doing was being a mockery. She was antagonizing them. She was demon-possessed. She was a soothsayer. And what happened, she had followed Paul and Silas around And they finally got tired of it. And this did she many days. But Paul, being grieved, turned and said unto the Spirit, I command thee in the name of Jesus Christ, come out of her. And he came out the same hour. If Paul and Silas can have this power, can be so close with God at this time, why can't the churches do it anymore? He didn't lay hands on her. He didn't try to baptize her or sprinkle holy water or what. He just said, come out. And it came out. The wild man, the one filled with demons, Jesus didn't do all this elaborate stuff and have charms and incantations. He spoke the word and the demons came out. They even asked him, hey, we don't want to die. So they went into the pigs. And then the pigs ran off the cliffs. They didn't want to deal with them. And when her masters saw that the hope of their gains were gone, they called Paul and Silas and threw them into the marketplace unto the rulers, and brought them to the magistrate, saying, These men, being Jews, do exceedingly trouble our city. Christians, when the devil sees a true born-again Christian, they should say, hey, these people are no good for our city. They should see something that makes them quake in their shoes. That's what the old Christians used to be. Back when they had the salt, they had the pine chip floors, and you had your tents, and you had your meetings outside. They used to be on fire. Now we have the bars open on Sunday. They can sell beer on Sunday. I mean, come on. The church has lost the backbone. We allow this stuff to happen now. We are the reason that witchcraft and sin and all these other things have taken over these people. It's not their fault. Some of them have never heard of Christ. Some of them's never stepped in front of a church because they're family, the way they're raised. It is the Christian's responsibility to be that light. Mom and Daddy might not teach them, but we should be able to. So basically, they were upset that Paul and Silas had taken away their moneymaker. They were upset. But that Paul and Silas just cast the demon out. That's what they were supposed to do. We should not be afraid of doing what God has told us to do. They cast the spirit out. Yes, they might have cost somebody some money, but they saved a life. And they got in trouble for it. We as Christians should be willing to be in trouble for our beliefs. We should stand up to witchcraft, to sin, to all these different things, and not be afraid to suffer for it. So now we go into, and they brought them to the magistrate, saying, These men be Jews. Okay, 21. And they teach customs which are not lawful for us to receive, nor to observe, being Romans. They just didn't want them. That's what it was. And the multitude rose up together against them, and the magistrate rent off their clothes and commanded to beat them. You have to suffer sometimes. And when they had laid many stripes upon them, they cast them into prison, charging the jailer to keep them safely. So, after they beat them, they said, hey, take care of them in jail. Don't let that happen to them. Yeah, make sure they're all right when they're here after you just beat these men. Who, having received such a charge, thrust them into the inner prison and made them feet fast in the stocks. So basically, yeah, they were chained by the feet. Nope. And at midnight, Paul and Silas prayed and sang praises unto God, and the prisoners heard them. And suddenly there was a great earthquake, so that the foundations of the prisons were shaken, and immediately all the doors were opened, and everyone's bands were loose. So everybody in the whole prison was loose. And the keeper of the prison, awakened out of his sleep and seeing the prison doors were open, he drew out his sword and would have killed himself, supposing that the prisoners had been fled. But Paul cried with a loud voice, saying, Do thyself no harm, for we are all here. And he called for light and sprang in and came trembling and fell down before Paul and Silas. And brought them out and said unto sirs, What must I do to be saved? This is the kicker. They went in accused of something that people didn't understand, something they feared. They came out getting a jailer and his whole family saved, because they did what God had commanded them to do. Could have they cast a demon out of the woman earlier? Sure. They could have done it anytime they wanted to. They had the power of God. He was able to look at her and say, Hey, come out. But God had other plans for them. They done what they were supposed to do. They went against this witchcraft. The people seen them go against it. They got scared. They put them in the prison. The prison crumbles, falls down. Everybody breaks their chains. They're still in the prison. And this one man, and his family get saved. God has a plan for everything. Those people that have dove into witchcraft, He has a plan for them. He does. He still loves them. As much people want to say God doesn't love the gays, He loves the gays. He loves the sinners. If He didn't, He wouldn't love us, because we were all sinners. So if He can't love me, if He loved me, you can't tell me He doesn't love my sister who is gay. I know different. He doesn't like her ways, but He still died for her. He died for everyone. God hated Esau because Esau sold his birthright. He sold out on Christ. That's the only reason He really hated him, because he turned his back on him. If we turn our back on people in need, does God hate us? What did He tell us to do? Be a light. Be an example. An ensample to this lost and dying world. We're supposed to help people. We're supposed to tell people. But the main thing is we read this word to them. And we explain to them that this stuff is wrong. My sister got into this stuff. And she still practices a lot of stuff. Me and her, we don't get along. We don't have a relationship. She knows what I believe, and she knows that I'm totally against her lifestyle. But yet, I still love her. And I still hope she gets saved. I know I'm not the one that can be a light to her, though. Sometimes, God uses somebody else. And I have prayed that. I said, Lord, I know who I am, the way that I am with my sister. I know it wouldn't work. But I still believe that somebody's going to get a hold of her. Who? I don't know. But God will figure it out. Because He used somebody outside of my family to get a hold of me. But she's lost and she's dying and she's going into this black magic of wanting to live her life, wanting to be goth. The wicked movement, the feminism and all this different stuff that she's been involved in. It ruins the life. It really does. God is here to restore life. And as His children, we still have to be that light. We have to understand what is wrong so we can help someone understand it themselves. Without someone telling us and teaching us that it's wrong, we wouldn't know. So we have to teach other people. I'll end with this. My little cousins, probably some of the sweetest kids, they have lived a life of hell. But I see now that they have the opportunity being with my dad. They needed something. They needed a figure in their life. They needed someone to show them, to protect them, to love them, to show them what is right and wrong. These kids, they're happy. They love my daddy to death. Follow him around everywhere. And you see the joy that it brings to his life to have these little kids kind of under his wings. That's the same joy that God has. He's got you under His wings. He's just happy. He's a proud papa, just smiling, happy. That's how He wants to be. But when we ourselves or someone we know get involved in stuff and we don't try to help them, He gets mad at us. I've talked to my sister till I'm blue in the face. It just doesn't work. She doesn't want to listen from me. And that's why I pray for someone else to talk to her. We all have families like that we talk to. They just don't want to hear it from us. But I'm not giving up on her. But I just can't be there yet for her. God has a purpose for each and every one of us, no matter what it is. If we get involved in the world, we get involved in sin, we lose that purpose because of ourselves. We lose all the benefits that He can give us, that He has already provided for us. Sin is witchcraft. Witchcraft is a broad subject with so many parts. There's more than just what I had here. The Celtic religion, all this different stuff. Samhain, that's where they get Halloween from. It's all demonic worship of dead. Let's stop worshiping dead things. Stop worshiping TVs or family members or traditions and worship God. Fear the one that can destroy the body and the soul. Because if we don't get saved, we don't act like it, we don't show it, sooner or later, it's going to end. And if you're not truly saved, you're going to burn for eternity. Just a little burn hurts. I hate to see what a whole lake of fire would be like. Witchcraft is real. We do whitewash it. We idolize it. We watch shows. Charmed, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, all these crazy shows. We need to know the difference, though. Because if we don't, we're going to fall for it. And once we hit that pit, it's only going to take God to get us out. Even then, we have to be willing. But when you long for something and you find a place, you find that thing that makes you happy, it's hard for God to get a hold of you sometimes. Because you're kind of brainwashed to that feeling. That's why being a Christian is so important. We have to lay the groundwork. We have to talk to them. We have to explain things to them. We have to say, God is here for you. That way, when He starts knocking, that foundation is laid. There's something that they can grab a hold to say, come on in. We have to do our part. That's what we're here for. God can save them. We got to help Him. We got to lay that foundation. There's a song, we catch them, God cleans them, or something like that. Fishing, somebody comes up with something. But yeah, we have to try to help reel them in, and then He's going to do the cleaning. Because without that, we wouldn't be saved. Everybody stand. If anybody has anything, the altar is open.